Are standardized tests efficient ways of measuring success? It is only through assessment that we can find out whether instruction has had its intended effect. But our current methods may have more flaws than benefits. Why are standardized tests inefficient methods of assessment? Students focus on short-term memorization rather than learning and understanding the material. They are often concerned more about the minimum grade or score they need to receive in order to pass a class than know what's going on. Students don't learn necessary skills in school that will help them in upper-level education, and due to lack of proper study skills formed or developed, they often flounder when expected to know material they learned 6 to 12 months ago. Teachers write their curriculum in order for students to pass their test. While this is understandable, what teacher wants their students to fail, it is digging students and teachers into an infinite loop of short-term memory and struggling when they move on to harder subjects. The test is supposed to test their teaching methods, not guide them. Without a baseline or a pretest, it's very hard for teachers to know what to focus on, and it's also hard to see improvement at the end of the year or semester when there's no information to compare final results to. The format of standardized tests smothers creativity and motivation. According to Christopher Longo, an expert on education systems, inquiry-based science instruction has led the way to assisting students in the process of discovering knowledge for themselves instead of being asked to recall information. The wonder of learning information is enhanced by creativity and curiosity. By giving students practice worksheets and exam preparation material, creativity and curiosity is being rapidly drained from the school systems. By taking creativity and personalization out of learning, students are losing their motivation and will to put in effort and enjoy the experience. Standardized tests have also led to a loss of critical thinking skills and reinforce the factory model of education. These tests don't check for quick problem-solving skills. And while it's true they can test different scenarios, you'll never see how a student will react to different situations under uncontrollable circumstances. According to Frank Serafini, school has been traditionally designed as a factory, with the child seen as a product and all the other educational components supporting the premise. Because of this system, education became and still is more of a process than of an opportunity to learn new skills and have a better chance at life. Nicholas Simmons also believes that standardized tests are in opposition to the cognitive multi-level approach of the classroom activities. Standardized tests focus on the final step rather than the learning path, and in doing so may ignore higher-level cognitive skills. Testing environments are an unrealistic setting for students. Many students become accustomed to their being tested in silent rooms. However, this environment is unlikely to occur in a professional workspace. In a realistic setting, students should be allowed to ask questions and research their best options. While it's true specialized occupations such as doctors need to react quickly, they also go to school for many years to learn this. But for the majority of students, in their ordinary life, they will not be shut in a cold room with only a pencil and paper and expected to come up with the answer. After 12 years in the same setting, students become accustomed and are almost programmed to think in these settings, and when they're moved into the professional world, they're set up for disaster. So if standardized testings were removed from the school systems, what would happen? Students would be less stressed. Instead of spending time worrying about the future, they could focus on what they are currently learning. They would also spend more time understanding the subject, which will ultimately help them remember it longer than trying to cram it in the last minute under immense pressure. Teachers would be able to put more time in their lesson plans. Teachers often leave a month or two at the end of the year or semester in order to allow time for testing preparation. Instead of slowly going through each topic and making sure students fully understand it, they whiz through and at the end of the year expect students to still remember everything. Spending would also decrease or be moved to areas of greater need. Standardized tests cost a lot of money, and without funding them, the money could go somewhere else within the school system. Schools would be able to afford more buses so higher grade schools don't have to start so early, which decreases stress experienced by teens. Schools would be able to buy new textbooks or newer tools for teachers such as computers, whiteboards, smartboards, etc. More money could also go to the lower funded schools and schools with struggling students. Students would also be less tempted to cheat. Parents and teachers wonder why so many students cheat, and it's ultimately because we've been taught that tests are the only factors that determine our intelligence, and sometimes that pressure drives students to a feeling of hopelessness and they cave to the temptation. In conclusion, upper level education systems focus on these tests and ignore all of the work behind the tests. Standardized tests also meet much of the criteria for inefficiency, and new methods of assessment should be considered. By removing them from schools, many positive changes would occur.